Well, a choppy year in the markets, almost in the rearview mirror, and a new year around the corner. You might be planning your investment strategy for that new year ahead. And as always, we got Jonathan McCoy of Market Advisory Group in studio to explain some great strategies, I think, as we go forward to 2023. It's hard to imagine. It's just right around the corner. Christmas just a few days away. Let's talk about a way to invest our money. What can we do if we want to realize some of these investments that give us those shares when we see the rise in the market, but still are going to protect us from when we see these quick drop-offs?
Yeah, so it all gets back to what point of life are you in, right? I mean, if you're approaching retirement, you think about what people went through back just shortly before 2008. A lot of folks, one of my very first clients in our industry, came to us after having to postpone his retirement for 7 years. And ultimately, we know that if you're willing to stick with it and hang in with the markets, you may not lose any money in the long run, but ultimately you could be losing time. So it's kind of interesting to look at the chart, looking at the charts from this year compared to the charts from 2008.
Yeah.
And we had a similar choppy downturn followed by a major plunge and crash, and we all hope and pray that that's not what happens in the markets next year. But ultimately, no one knows, right? And if you're that much closer to retirement now, you have to be thinking about how much more downside risk can you take and still be able to afford to retire on time.
And good to prepare for stuff like that. And again, great to talk to you guys about those situations. You can analyze the portfolio, minimize those risks. So if something like that were to happen, you don't have to set off your retirement those 7 years.
And I encourage people are thinking about how much money do you need to be spending for those first 3 to 5 years of retirement? How long is it going to take the market to recover? And do you have assets set aside that you can live on so you don't have to postpone your retirement?
When it comes to estate planning, let's talk about what are some of the life circumstances that a person should, have an attorney for, like Eidelman Law Firm is with you guys, correct?
Right.
How can they review different estate plans and make recommendations?
Well, a lot of the folks that talk to our estate planning attorneys don't have an estate plan in place. When you think about power of attorney documents, putting TOD or beneficiary deeds in place for your house, your bank accounts, different things like that, ultimately there's no specific time or circumstance. It's you want to do that planning when things are good, when there's nothing to worry about, because the worst case scenario is coming up one day late. If you lose a spouse, if your parents pass away and they don't have anything in place, or if you pass away and your kids don't have anything in place to give them instruction on how to handle your assets, it can leave a huge mess. And that's quite frankly what a lot of our attorneys are working on cleaning up for people, is after the fact when that planning is done too late.
And we've just had friends that unfortunately have lost a dad and there was none of that planning in place. So then it goes through probate, and there's so much stuff that gets lost in that process, it seems like. So definitely good to have your ducks in order before something unfortunate happens.
Sooner rather than later is better. Is the best recommendation.
Well, we're like I said, towards the end of the year. Obviously, we're looking ahead to 2023. Taxes are going to be something we have to do again in April, obviously. But how far out should we be thinking about tax planning and setting an appointment with our tax preparer as we wrap up 2022 with maybe like different deductions or different? I know a lot of people want to make donations towards the end of the year as well as they look ahead to 2023.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, if you don't already have a tax planner in place that's put those things together before now, essentially. Sometimes moving money from IRAs to Roth IRAs, making those charitable contributions, it's a matter of how quickly can that money move at the end of the year when all these institutions are moving that much slower. There's that much more paperwork being turned in. There's only so many people at these companies that are doing that kind of work. So again, kind of like the estate planning, you don't want it to be too late. So end of the year tax planning, now is really your last chance. But looking to next tax season, as far as getting time set up with our tax preparers, we all know that those tax forms are going to come end of January, beginning of February. So we know that there's just a heap load of paperwork and information coming in mid to second half of February. If you can set up a time with our tax preparers, get us a better idea of what forms you expect to be bringing in, especially if you're looking for a new tax planning team. Come in and talk to us sooner rather than later, because even if you don't have all those forms in place, we can get you a much better idea and a game plan ahead of time.
Okay, definitely. Well, we'd love to have you take a look at people's portfolios and their taxes here for 2023. And if you guys would like to schedule a complimentary consultation with Jonathan and their team, you can submit your questions and schedule all those by going to askourdvisor.com or call 816-548-2000. They'll take your questions and meet with you one-on-one free of charge. And if you include your address, Market Advisory Group will send you a free gift.